Hi, I'm Dr. Patrick Andersen of Madison Maximize Living. Chronic neck and back pain are of epidemic proportions in our country. It is the #1 disability in the world. While chiropractic adjustments are one of the most important things to do for spinal pain, home care can be quite helpful. Join co-host Stacy Hansen and myself as we cover the specific exercises and equipment that can be helpful in attaining your best spinal health. Coming up next.
Welcome back to Maximize Living with Dr. Patrick Andersen. So we're talking today about some home care exercises that you can do for your spine. And we're going to demonstrate some of those.
We have a lot to demonstrate today.
So
yes.
Let's talk just first in general about why this is important to do this.
Well, 30 to 40% of spinal correction comes from doing the things we teach you to do at home. So, I mean, that saves a lot of time and a lot of money. More importantly, it helps you get better and get better faster. So the most important thing is the right spinal or extremity adjustment, but these rehab exercises will help support and speed recovery.
So it's important that you're following up. You can't just go to the appointment and expect that you to do everything for them there in the office. They've got to follow up.
Kind of like you can't, Jack LaLanne says you can't pay someone to do your push-ups for you.
Yeah,
you know,
darn it,
you
can't.
Yeah.
So what are some of the exercises that we can do?
Yeah, there's a couple different things, a couple different types of things that are really, I wanted to share with our viewing audience because they're really phenomenally helpful. One of them is warm-up exercises, where we do a wall traction and a sit disc warm-up range of motion exercises. The next one is isometric exercises. Isometrics change your posture muscles and cause you to hold your posture when you're not thinking about it, when you strengthen the isometrically. And the next one is called spinal passive spinal molding, where we use wedges under the pelvis or back, or rolls under the neck to mold the curves in your back. And that's very helpful to do at home, and it really costs you nothing once you learn how to use it and it's properly recommended for you. And the last one is really unique, and that's called body weighting.
Okay.
So this is, we've seen the head weight we put on. We also have chest weight, pelvic weights, side weights for the pelvis.
Okay.
There's a lot of different permutations of that, but it really helps train the body into proper alignment.
So can we demonstrate some of these?
Sure.
Should we start with the warm-up?
Yeah. Why don't we go ahead and sit on one of these?
Okay.
And when our patients come in, we'll start with a wall traction unit, like that, and this goes under the chin. And this would be up in the air over the door. And then the patient would relax everything with an underhand grip. Get that just right.
They're underhand gripped, okay.
And you relax everything, and then you basically just bend your knees when you're standing.
And just kind of lower.
Just lower down with about 20 pounds of pressure. And you come down, and then back up. So that's how that wall traction would work. And we'd have patients do 20, 30, 40 reps of this a couple times a day.
Okay.
Dipping down like that. And that'll pull the curve in the neck, help with forward head posture, open up degenerated disc spaces for better hydration, and actually helps decompress the brainstem area for those that need that. So There's a lot to it.
So there's a lot of benefit to that.
Yeah, it's real handy. We use it for most patients as a warm-up before we take care of them in our office. The next thing is our sit discs.
Okay.
And the first exercise we do there, we'll just go through briefly, is a arch and sway where you rock back on the disc and slump, and then you rock forward and arch. And the idea is to go quickly on this. Exactly, good job. The next one is a side bend, and we lean to one side and tip your head the opposite way, so you're going like that. And the idea is to do that like a floppy fish, using that disc to help get your spine moving. And the last one is to arch your back, arms up here, and it's a rotational movement like this.
Try not to hit each other.
And this is going to get a great component of that rotation in your spine. So when my patients have done these, about 20 reps of those, and they've done their wall traction, they're ready and warmed up for their adjustment.
So we're all warmed up. When we come back, we'll move into more of the isometrics. Have your questions for Dr. Pat answered on an episode of Maximize Living. Send your email to drpat@wi57.tv. Welcome back to Maximize Living with Dr. Patrick Andersen. We're talking about some spinal exercises today, and we're going to demonstrate some for you. We did a warm-up. Now we're ready for some isometric exercises. Yes. First, why are they a good idea to do?
Well, it's been discovered that the isometrics will actually change your postural muscles to hold your spine upright better when you're not thinking about it, because posture's not under conscious control. Only as long as you think about it, then you slump when you're not thinking about it. So when Mom says, sit up straight, I mean, it's nice to try, but it's not realistic.
It doesn't work.
Yeah.
So I guess we can stop doing that to our children. So let's demonstrate some of these.
Yeah, well, one issue people have is what's called skull extension, when the skull extends too much. And we'll see this on x-ray. Certain angles aren't right. And so a cervical flexion exercise will use the longest coli muscle in the neck. And it's isometric, where you simply push your head against it with a light to moderate pressure. Not a lot. You'd be surprised you could get sore on this one.
Really?
Yeah, as you work those neck flexors. And again, we hold it for, start with 5 seconds, 5 reps, work your way up to 10 seconds, 10 reps. So that's for cervical extension, for cervical flexion. Next one is a cervical extension exercise. And that's where we put the hands behind your head, elbows close together, and stretch your chin and elbows to the ceiling. This is one of my all-time favorite exercises because you'll feel it pulling all the way down your back.
You really do.
Again, 5 reps, 5 seconds, working your way up to 10 tens. And it's not a hard pull. Don't strain yourself here. This is a stretch. So take it easy with that. The next one is a specific one depending on which way your spine is curved. If you have an angle like this in your neck and back, we're going to do we call it a CD exercise. And it's an isometric. You put your hand on the side of your head like that, and you push against it, light to moderately, and hold that again, 5 seconds, 5 reps. And if your spine curves the other way, more like this, then you're working this side.
This side.
And you really need your chiropractor to tell you when to do this specifically. But it's very helpful. If you did both sides, you'd probably be okay. But again, not much force, because you can get sore doing that. The next one is a cervical traction pull exercise, where we put this around the neck and you extend your arms and you pull. We'll get that right there.
There we go.
And you pull straight out.
Okay.
Like that. 5 seconds, 5 reps. Tuck your chin just a little bit while you do that, and that's going to pull right on there. And then if you have a roundness in the lower neck, then we bring it down 30 degrees like this, a kyphosis, then we push. And if you have a poor slope of the top vertebra here, we'll round your shoulders too. So round your shoulders like at 30 degrees like that, and you push 5 reps, 5 seconds like that. So I wanted to introduce our audience to some of the home care things that can be done for the neck. So we can take that off.
Okay. So that's for the neck. Now are we ready to kind of move into the mid-back?
Yeah. A lot of people have what we call anterior dorsals. If you look at their back, there's kind of a hollow in their mid-back. And there's an isometric exercise that works well using the lungs. We call it the chest expander. So you simply take a deep breath, our hands together like this, round your shoulders and push together in that fashion. And that will push those dorsal vertebrae back. And you push for 30 to 60 seconds. And that helps with what we call that pushed-in anterior dorsal.
It's funny how you can just use your own lungs to do that, to get that pressure.
Yeah. And then another one, which is harder yet to do, is called the praying mantis. And on this one, this is for people who have that slouch in the lower dorsal spine, moving backwards. And this one is called the praying mantis. You put your elbows together and your hands together, and you push. And then you elevate your hands while you do it. And you hold it up there. And you'll feel that tension in your lumbodorsal spine, lower rib cage.
Yeah.
And that's helping to strengthen those muscles to pull that forward. So those are some of the things that can be done for the thoracic spine.
So what about as we get a little bit lower?
Well, we can cover that in our next session.
Okay, great. All right, stay with us. We'll have that coming up next. Have your questions for Dr. Pat answered on an episode of Maximize Living. Send your email to drpat@wi57.tv. Welcome back to Maximize Living with Dr. Patrick Andersen. We're talking about isometric exercises right now for your spine, and we're ready for the lower back.
Yes, we've got some great ones here. If you have a curve, first one I like to do is called the psoas lift. And if you have a curvature of your lumbar spine and then it curves back the other way, on the side the major curve is, we want to do a specific exercise. Now, this can be done on both sides for those who don't know which side they need to do it on. I haven't got a chiropractor telling them what side they need to do it on. The way that's done is to raise your leg 6 inches high and out 6 inches. And then put your hand on the outside of your knee and you push down and in while you're holding good posture in your lower back. Again, 5 seconds, 5 reps, pushing down and in at this angle. That's called a psoas lift. And it's meant, in this case, to help an ankle where the low back's curved left and then back to the right. We're using that right side.
Okay.
Now, one of my all-time favorites besides the neck extension is the lumbar extension exercise. It's really quite ingenious how well it works. Put your hands on your knees and pull your stomach forward and your knees back fairly firmly. And you'll feel yourself pulling the arch into your back. And hold that again, 5 seconds, 5 reps, work your way up to 10 tens.
Okay.
And that's a great way of helping pull that curve into the lower back. Next, we want to demonstrate the psoas stretch.
Okay.
And the way that's done is to put one leg up and then lean back in this fashion. And you're stretching the psoas on the down leg. Okay, and you hold that for about 20 seconds, 20 to 30 seconds, and then you rest, and then switch legs. Now, in our office, we'd recommend this on one side particularly because of the way the spinal configuration is. So that's called the psoas stretch.
Yeah, you can feel it. It's a nice, good stretch.
It's a nice, good stretch, very safe. The next one, if someone has too much of an arch in their back, if you wouldn't mind lying on your back, we'll do the one for an increased arch in the low back. So we want to decompress it. So on this one, we'll pull your knees to your chest. And
got a mic pack there.
And pull like that. And you hold that position like that for about 30 seconds.
Okay.
All right. And then if you want to go onto your stomach, the next one is to do a heel sit, where you just put your arms up here.
Sort of like this.
And you just sit back and relax the lower back and hold that for about 30 seconds to a minute. And that's very good for the person with too much of an arch in the back and straining their back. Now, if you would, lie on your back.
Okay.
We use spinal rolls to mold the normal curves. Here's one for the neck, like this. The big one goes under the neck, and the small one goes under the lower back. If you wouldn't mind lifting up a little bit, that fits right under the lower back, like that.
Okay.
And we have patients lie like that for, start with 3 minutes, work their way up to 20 minutes. It's called spinal molding, passive spinal molding. It's going to mold those curves in your back. Now there's some other configurations if you want to sit up. If you have a very rounded area back here, T12 posterior we call it, then we put this wedge right here and have you lie back. Bend your knees. And you'll feel that lifting, that rib cage.
Yeah, it definitely lifts right there. Yeah.
That's where we call it posterior T12. So I think it's really important for our audience to see some of these things can be extremely comfortable, extremely helpful in managing their case. Sit up for me if you would. Now, if you're one that has too much of an arch in your back, go ahead and lie back. Then this placed under your tailbone can be really helpful to reduce and decompress the lower back. Again, spinal molding.
Yeah, you definitely feel like a U curve there.
Yeah, And then these same blocks can be used if one pelvis is posterior. You can lie on it like this and put the other one facing the opposite direction. And that will change the configuration of the pelvis and spine. It's quite comfortably done. So we'll be back in just a minute with something quite unique called body weighting, another way of helping.
Have your questions for Dr. Pat answered on an episode of Maximize Living. Send your email to drpat@wi57.tv. Welcome back to Maximize Living with Dr. Patrick Andersen. We're talking about some exercises that you can do for your spine, and we're up to a new one for me, body weighting.
Yes, this is out in the last several years, and what it does is cause the body to react and change its posture accordingly. So when we look at the side view of people, there's 80% of people fall into one of two categories. If you want to stand up.
Okay.
They're either a slumper like this, with forward head posture, rounded back, flat curve here, or they're a rocket posture where they're arched forward. And there's different ways of weighting the body that will be so helpful. So basically, we put these weights on you and you go walk around for 5 or 10 minutes, preferably outside, preferably with a lot of friends outside so they can see
Everyone can
the
see
Maximize Living sign on the weights. But you can walk around the house if you want. So the first one, with the slumped posture, we're gonna put a weight around the front of the pelvis.
Okay.
So if we would hold that there, and I'll come around the back here and put that on.
It's funny that it's the opposite side that you would think.
Yeah, your body's reacting to it.
Yeah.
So we put that on like that, close that up, and that should hang about the pelvis height, right about there.
That feels about right.
And then this is really unique, a new discovery, and it's anterior chest weighting. So this comes across like this.
Okay.
And about mid-back it hangs from your neck, and just let it hang right down.
Right about, okay.
And then I'll let you put on one of these head weights. Here you go. So it really looks like quite a contraption out of the Middle Ages. However, that would come a little bit lower then.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, so she's got all these forces then taking this flat back and forward rolled shoulders. She's got these forces to pull back for her head, for her mid-back, and the lower back. That'll pull that arch into her back. Now, if she has the rocket posture forward like this, then we do a completely different setup. We'll take this off just for now.
Okay. So we're going to want to go back around to the other side, I'm guessing.
Exactly.
Okay.
I'll loosen that up a little bit and see if you can just swivel it around.
Swivel around.
There you go. We'll tighten that up and close that down. And then you put the head weight back on. And go for your 3-minute walk a couple times a day, or eventually up to 20 minutes once a day. And that's going to feel really good on that patient that's got this forward sway of the back. Putting that pelvic weight on really takes pressure off, and most people just love it when they have that problem. But that's something you can do at home. You don't have to go into the office and pay for a visit. These are things that are helpful to support your back, you know, while you're at home.
And so basically what you're trying to do is so subconsciously then you don't have to consciously try to hold your posture a different way. Your body is, you're training your body to just do it.
You're training your body to do it. And your brain is constantly refiguring how you do that. Especially when you're walking, it has to come up with all kinds of ways to adapt to it.
So I wonder, how long do people need to do this? Once it's corrected, are they corrected, or do they need to off and on throughout their life do it?
You'd want to be doing it daily for a few minutes, walking with your weights on until your spine's corrected. Then you could do it once in a while, every other day or so. It's still a good idea if you have that pattern.
Because you could slip back if you're not watching it.
And some of the other interesting things is if you have problems in the front view, like a head shift like this, or a curve in your back, there are weights that we can put on that will shift the head from side to side.
The same sort of concept.
Yeah, we would put on a weight like this, a harness like that, and then if she had a particular shift in her body, we could put a dog ear on it. That would have to be down pretty tight.
Yeah.
But the dog ear would be on there, and that would cause her head to shift differently.
Same sort of concept.
Yeah. And so you're weighting one side of the body with different configurations to get the muscles to react and your neurology to think that's where it's supposed to be and learn that.
That's an interesting way to do it, a nice new way to do it.
But besides the adjustments, so we've got our exercises for circulation, we've got our isometrics, we have spinal molding, and now body weighting. And you put those together and you can get a lot more significantly problematic patients better.
It's a great program for people. Well, stay with us. We have more right after the break. Have your questions for Dr. Pat answered on an episode of Maximize Living. Send your email to drpat@wi57.tv.
I hope you enjoyed our show on spinal exercises and the home care kit. The isometric exercises, spinal molding, and specific body weighting are some of the most useful tools available to help with your health. If you are having health challenges and would like to see what natural chiropractic care can do for you, please give our office a call at 608-833-1282. We'd be happy to help. For Maximize Living, I'm Dr. Patrick Andersen. Until next time, live well and God bless.
Have your questions for Dr. Pat answered on an episode of Maximize Living. Send your email to drpat@wi57.tv.